So I want to talk about scenery, and um, I don't do this all the time, but this is something that I have fun with whenever I have the chance to do, and it's using scenery, but using it in just different ways. And one of the things that one of the places I found is, so of course, one of the best things to do is if you're working with a client directly, and or you have somebody who's working with a client and you can get them to get a couple of shots of the client's backyard. That's the best thing to do, because then, outside their kitchen window is a view of their backyard or side yard or whatever. So that's the best thing to do. But I found a good place to get scenery is a website called Unsplash, and specifically they have panoramas. They have quite a few panoramas, and that's what I've used here is a panoramic photo. And this is, you can see here, Thomas Galler is the photographer, and Unsplash is a website where you get free photography, and it's all professional level photography, but at no royalties. So there's no bounce back if it gets out into the world, which probably for us wouldn't be a big deal anyway, because nobody's really seeing this except for our clients. But it's a good place to get things like this. So that's what I've done here is I've done a panorama rather than just a simple rectangle outside the window. And this particular one, I've actually got scaled pretty large because it's a very high res photo. So I'm going to, Mary Baber. All right, I'm just going to stop real quickly and let her in. Hiya, Mary. Oh, can you hear me? Not yet.
Hey, can you hear me?
There she is. Yes. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Also joining us from the Carolinas. Mary's actually with Marsh Cabinetry. I don't know if Mitch or Kat, you're familiar with Marsh Cabinetry, but Mary is what is your role there again, Mary?
I'm the design training manager.
That's right. Okay, super. So I just started a few, like 2 minutes ago, so you didn't really miss much. Just so you know, we're recording this so that others can watch it, and I'm just talking about scenery. And I was just showing Mitch and Kat, who are also joining us, that I use in this particular case, I'm using using a panoramic shot, and I got this off a website called Unsplash, and that's very simple. It's just unsplash.com, and I was just showing them that I use it it's a very high resolution picture, so I use it. It's 542 inches by 119 inches, so it keeps it at its panoramic proportions. And then I have, excuse me, I have the scenery. So it's a scenery, which you find, those that don't know, it is under categories, windows, scenery, and it's called scenery. The one thing about, a couple of things about scenery. One is everything that goes on there is proportioned to the size of the piece that you're doing. Unlike most things in 2020, like cubes and countertops and cabinetry and things like that, which are, the texture is tiled, this takes the texture and just sizes it to the size of the scenery that you define. So that's number one. Number two is it allows light through. It's the only thing in 2020 that I know of other than glass that allows light through. So when you have sunlight, if you place sunlight out here, for example, it will still shine through into your, if you did a cube or something that, like an Art 7 from the Underground catalog, which allows you to scale things proportionately, it wouldn't allow the light through. So those are the two unique properties of the scenery. It's found here under Windows. So I have this scaled so that it's out here, and you'll see in a moment why I've done this. So the other thing that I have here is I have a surface, and I drew the surface just along the edge of the scenery. I had that here first, and then along these two walls, because my surface is grass. And this is actually from the SketchUp Texture Club. It is a texture that you can get. It's a seamless texture. It's very important because you don't want to have it looking like a grid or tile. And so I've done that out here. And this is the effect that you get. Oops. Help if I move this into the screen. So this is the effect that you get. So as you move closer to the window, so if we had not put that scenery there with the grass, it would just be, in this case, it would probably be flooring, because I believe when you have something out this far, it kind of fills in that outside area with flooring. So that surface gives us, and it doesn't look that great here, but I've taken the liberty of doing a high res, and it actually looks like the yard was mowed up to the edge, and then you kind of go to the wilder grass. So it gives you the impression that you have a lawn out there, and you could do the same thing with a deck. You could do decking. You can do lots of different things like that, but that's sort of the effect that you get. I didn't even mess with the exposure yet. So this was all fairly evenly lighted. One of the things with exposure is it only makes a major impact when you don't have very equal lighting from one segment to the next, then it kind of equalizes it. But this is kind of all evenly lit throughout, so it didn't make as much of a difference, but we can lighten it. So that's the benefit of doing that surface. And again, it could be, you could build a quick deck simply by doing a cube and having that be like a decking type of material on it. But I just thought in this particular case, this was nice to just kind of have it go out to the lake. And so that's my high res, and I just minimize that. So, but I've done scenery on 3 sides, or on all sides, because there's windows on all sides of this. So that's when you look here, you see, I zoom out, I've got scenery on 3 sides because I have windows on 3 sides. And it's the same scenery, and it's actually kind of convincing. I liken this to a movie set. When you're on a movie set, you have sort of what the camera sees is what gets filmed, and that's what the audience sees. But when you move out of that, then you start seeing microphones and lights and the catering truck and all that stuff. And that's very similar to here, because when we go into so we're kind of in our bubble here, we're kind of, everything just kind of looks like it's the inside scene of a kitchen / sitting mudroom area. But as we come up here and just kind of float above, it looks very different.
Wow.
So it's, you're and it's just kind of like, it fools the eye. That's the whole idea, is to fool the eye and get to the point. So there's actually a point where these two intersect, and you can kind of tell, but I think only if you're looking for it. So you can get a shot from here. Actually, I'll send this to high res. We'll see what that looks like. And then this is a lot of SketchUp items and detail with all the scenery and everything. So it takes a fair amount of time to do a high res. I'm in Redway. Let's once this does its thing, I'm going to kind of zoom around here and take another couple peeks at things. But I'd be interested to see how this looks in Easy Render. So I think I'm going to switch.
Bad.
Huh?
Very bad.
You think this will look bad in Easy Render?
Yep.
I tend to agree. I think that it's because of the. You think it's because of the lighting?
No, it's because of the glass.
Okay.
It's very strange. And not even the glass, because I tested it and made the glass invisible, and the photos still look shitty.
Okay.
So
and is it the glare? It must be the glare, because somebody else had mentioned that, I think, and that was.
It's. And the strange thing is, when it starts rendering at first, the picture is clear, and when you go to high res, it's fading.
Yeah, yeah, I've noticed that on Easy Render. So you can tell we're in
It's a
Easy
little
Render 'cause
bit
we're-
like with floors.
okay. Yeah, because this looks good now, but when it
So,
starts settling in, it'll
very
probably look
strange.
bad. Yeah. All right. We're auto saving, so it'll take a second. Okay, here we go. Oops.
Hello.
That's not horrible. But you can see that glare. That glare you're talking about. It's right there. Right there on that window. And out there, yeah, look at, yeah, you can't see. It's almost like the glass is double thick or something. It's interesting.
No, but when you make the glass invisible, it's still bad.
Interesting.
It's horrible.
I
Yep.
wonder, so there's also transparent glass. Have you tried that one?
Yeah, but normally when you make it invisible, it's non-existent. Then it shouldn't interfere. It's
Right.
I don't know.
I'm gonna try I'm gonna try transparent glass just for the fun of it. See if that does anything different.
Yeah. It won't.
Nope. No difference at all.
Nope.
Interesting. Okay. So Easy Render, I think we're finding, has a very narrow set of circumstances where it works well. And I think for the most part, it's in when people are doing a lot of designs in a home center type of setting and they just need quick renders. It's not the end of the world because, you know, they're not probably not going to use scenery outside the window. But yeah, that looks bad. That looks fake, and you can't see it down that end. Interesting. Just for the fun of it, I'm just going to hit high res, see what it does. Kat, are you on live? Or are you on just a non-live version?
I'm on live.
You're on live. Do you mess with Easy Render?
I do because it's fast, but I
Mhm.
find that it takes almost 70 minutes for a really good rendering,
Wow.
which I had like 5 renders I had to do and it took almost all day long.
Wow.
It was horrible.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is taking a fair amount of time. And I have a powerful computer that I just reformatted and reinstalled Windows and reinstalled 2020. So it's going pretty much as fast as it could go. This would be going about half the
Yep.
speed on a machine that doesn't quite have these specs. Interesting. So while that's doing that, let's see how the HQ, the other HQ is coming. Yeah, see, it works so well that can you see the reflection from the inside of the house? Just a tiny bit on the glass. It's over here and it's over here and it's kind of over here a little bit.
I find my images just, kind of like disappear in the Easy Render.
Mhm.
On some of them, they're just like completely gone. Others, the clarity is no longer there. It's like you're looking through a foggy mirror at the images behind the glass out the window.
Which, like Jackie mentioned, it is like the flooring. Flooring is the same way. The flooring looks very washed out. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
You know,
But
for your Easy Render, you're going through pretty quickly.
Yeah, though these renders down here, seems like it's taking about the same amount of time as it does for the HQ Redway.
Yeah, but the problem with Easy Render is background rendering. It's awful. In Redway, I can easily do 3 renders in the background,
because
still work.
it completely releases to an external
Yeah.
program, an external
And-
executable.
And with
Where with Easy Render,
and
it's
with
not.
easy,
It's rendering in 2020.
maximum 2 I can do, and then I can fairly do amount of work. But
I've tried that. I tried that today. I tried doing more than one today, and it didn't like it. So
Nope.
while that's rendering, one of the other things that I like to do is interior. Where is that? It's not switching over. Okay, give it a second. Kat, did you raise your hand? Is that what that little? There's like a little hand on your.
Well, I had a question earlier, but then I completely forgot what it was.
All right, I'm lowering your hand for you. And when you think of it again, just chime in. Just say, hey.
Okay, thank you.
We don't stand on formalities here. All right. Well, that's our HQ. Meh. My opinion's meh. And you have the issues with the glass. Jackie, I can't help but wonder. Look at that. See that? I think it's the same thing that's causing the look of glass or haziness in openings, in just the doorways and things like that.
It's the same.
Because that's a bay window. That the glass is out, but see how that's in the frame? It's putting a glaze over everything. It's putting a glaze over the windows. It's putting a glaze over the openings. It's putting a glaze on the floor. If only 2020 would listen to us. But alas, they don't.
They know this for 2-3 months now.
I know.
It's all over the place.
It's because they have to release. I'm a little jaded when it comes to 2020, guys. I'm sorry. But it's because they have to release. They did release this week. They released 2020 Manager, which actually looks like a pretty promising project management type tool.
Is it priced yet?
Yep, $495 per seat per year. And that they introduced it at $395 per seat per year. So basically, if you are full boat, not on keys, not on the old support system, if you're in new, let's say you have 5 designers and you want to use 2020 and 2020 Manager, you're looking at 22, 20, 19, 18, $2,300 a year per seat.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I reserve comment. So where's my, there it is. All right, my HQ is still chugging along. So while that's doing that, I think it'll give me control of 2020 back. Yes, it will. Okay. So the other thing that I like to use it for is when there's another room, and especially if you want to do a 360, I'd like to see them up their 360 game, or if you are rendering it somewhere else or whatever, I'd like to I like to have all of the openings have something in them, so that if you're standing in the middle and you're spinning around, you have something other than white or gray outside the openings to see. And I know a lot of people have done this, but it's I use the same thing. I use the scenery, but I use an interior shot. So I'm just going to turn around. Oops. Oh, you know what? I'm going to change back to Redway. Hang on. I don't want to stay in Easy Render, much as it pains me to say that. Okay. All right. Now I can. There we go. So it's with a shot of another interior space. And again, this can be a space that is an adjacent space to the space that's being designed. Or it can be something from, I think this was from Architectural Digest or something like that, just to kind of give you that depth, that you have another room over there. And actually this is, for some reason, this scenery is up off the ground a bit. So I have to lower it back down. Oops. 72 inches off the floor. Let's go like that. And that should take care of it. And again, it's the same scenery that, oh, where'd it go? Oh, for Pete's sake. Where's it? I'm just going to sneak above the. Okay, it's gone. Where'd it go? I've lost my scenery and I don't know where it's gone. Hang on one second. Down. Interesting. Oh, you know what? I think I know what it is. When you look at the back of a scenery, it's white. You have to make sure it's facing the right way. That's the problem. There we go. So now it's the same. It's the same scenery, but nobody would really know the difference. And this is another fun thing that I've done too, is so this piece of the house that comes out is brick on the exterior. So I did add a brick texture to the outside of this wall, and I believe this wall. Yep, I did. So when you're sitting here looking out with just the right angle, you're catching the exterior of the house. Now, one of the things about scenery too is you do have to light it sometimes. It doesn't light on its own. So that's what I've done here, is I believe I have an Omni light. Yep. So what I'd probably do is I'd move this over here and just copy and paste it over here so that it's a little bit more evenly lit. OmniLight was a great invention, I have to say. That was something that came out in 11.12 and that I think they did right. Yes.
Where do you have the Omni light?
It is in the Room Fur catalog.
Room fur, okay.
Yeah, I'll show you. I mean, it just kind of, I think it auto saved, so just take a second. Here we go. It's back. So it's Room Fur, lighting fixtures, a light source, and a light Omni. And what it does is you can't do anything inside the attributes of the light itself. In fact, it shows up as just a black box because it's really just a ball of light. So what you do is you place it, and then you do have a few options under light properties. You can go up and down it. It places it at 60 inches centered off the floor. So you can put it up or down where you need it to be. And then you can change light properties. It does go in with a yellow light. I always change it to white. And then I will do, somewhere between 40 and 80 watts, depending on the situation. And then it gives you just a light that literally shines in all directions. And now that whole scenery is pretty well lit across it. When I come back, down, it should give us a little bit better. Yeah, so it's a little bit better. I could probably move that further one down to the right a little bit more, but it does light it pretty well. So it gives you the impression that it's sunlit. So sunlight, a lot of people put sunlight in thinking that it lights the space, but it doesn't. All it does is it shines bright light through the window and onto furniture, onto floors, onto whatever. It doesn't actually add lighting to the space. It's interesting. It's still not very well lit. We'll go a little bit further. Well, you know what? Maybe I have to just bump this up. No, it's 120. Yeah. Oh, but it's yellow. Oh, you know what? I made the outside ones yellow because sunlight is not white. It's a filtered light. It's a little bit more yellow. So I left that. So maybe I'll bump this one up to same. I'll put it back to yellow. Of course, it auto-saved right in the middle of that. So I'm gonna have to reselect it again. That drive anybody else batty?
Oh, yeah.
Whenever you're trying to do something, it will always do that. I'll bump this up to 120.
Have you said it in 5 minutes?
What's that? No, I don't think I do anyway.
Yeah, it's every 5 minutes.
Do I have it set for 5? That must have been the default when I reinstalled. Okay, so that looks horrible yellow. I'm going to change that. Never mind. I'll make it white. Jackie and I play around with lighting a lot. Jackie especially, and he uses beige or gray a lot for the light color, especially doing under cabinet lighting and that sort of thing. There we go. It's better. So that's a little bit better. So anyway, this should finally be done. Yeah, this is finally done. Oh, I thought I deleted that cube. Dang it. Oh well. Just expose it a little bit and just kind of equalize stuff. I don't have my ceilings completely connected or anything like that, but you can just kind of see how it gives you a good feel for the space. I think that most clients, you know, whether they be a designer client or contractor client or retail client, I think would ooh and ah over this. So there's something else I wanted to mention. I think I started down a path and I didn't finish the thought. Oh, anyway. So I have this as a picture window, but I was messing around with it. I use this for another lesson. It was the last summer. I was telling Jackie, it was the last summer, the summer before I did a summer camp, and we were messing around with this stuff then. I think this is a casement. Yeah, it's a casement. I just have the hardware turned off. Anyway. It's bugging me. I thought I was going to say something else, but I don't have room baseboard in. A lot of times I will put room, most of the time we'll put room baseboard in. In fact, I thought I had room baseboard in here. For room baseboard and crown, I'll just throw that out there really quickly. I use them out of the underground catalog. No, I'm sorry, out of the room catalog, because for some reason the room catalog, and it's rare this happens, but it works a little bit better out of the room catalog than it does out of the underground catalog. Mostly it's because I'll go in and I will change the color right here as I put it in. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So I don't know if I'll be able to do a room. I'll do a room over here. I don't think I'll be able to do a room over here because I have a cathedral ceiling there. But so that's the one I like to use. That's the profile. And when I view and place it, I change the color here before I place it. And you can either do that the newfangled way, which is clicking on it, going and finding your color. You can go in here and Jackie types V25. I simply type 25 because that's your basic color. White works for just about anything and it works pretty well. Or I like old school. I will turn on my expressions and type in either 25 or does anybody know what the other white that's used quite a bit is? The number, the 4-digit number. Anyone? Anyone? That's 4122.
41?
4122. it's white 4. It's white 4 with an eggshell. I'm sorry, with a flat finish. So either good for ceilings or whatever, but I'll put it in at either of those two. And then I'll place it, and then I'll just click inside the wall. And it put it in a few different places. It didn't put it everywhere, but that's okay. Didn't put it where I wanted it, which is over there, but it did. Oh, that's my, I don't want that one. Yep. Oops. Guess I don't have one open. I thought I had a window open. There it is. I placed it a little bit too high, which it does sometimes. You just have to bring it down to, you can either go into an elevation, which let's see if I have that wall elevation. That's interesting. It did over there. Let's go up down, or you can do it in the floor plan, but you have to do them individually. And for some reason, put 3 1/16 above the floor, kind of an odd number. I'll just put 0. And there it is, sitting on the floor where it belongs. Just a little thing that adds a bit more realism to it.
Colin,
Yes, sir.
in for the scenery, we should discuss also scaling, because you mentioned you scaled your panorama, but I never scale in scenery. I have high resolution photos. I import it as normal.
Yep.
Not large, normal, and it sets it correctly. It's very strange. I never have to scale it.
Yeah, when I bring it in, let's do a new one. I'll see. I'll do a brand new one from the room catalog. So I have the textures in the current design are, yeah, this is the one that I was using. And I also have a sky one. So let's just do the sky one. And it scales at 120 by 89.9, so 120 by 90. And this scales, this actually, oh, it's because I did it that way. But if I do, everybody hear me okay? Because it says I just got a warning that said my internet is unstable. Everybody hearing me okay?
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
Yes.
But there was a second that was kind of, all right. So I need to import a new one, because otherwise it won't be a fair comparison. So let's see, I want textures, and there's one. Let's see what it does. And you do normal. That's interesting. I'll do it as normal. And it's coming in at 12 inches by 8 inches. I mean, it comes in to the right proportion, but it comes in tiny.
yeah.
So I would have to, I'll say okay, and I'll let it go in here. And then I just have to do it proportional to, okay, I see what you're saying.
There it
It's,
is.
yeah. And then I just need to say, okay. And then I need to just select the width of it, which is about there.
Yeah, and it scales it automatically.
It
Very
didn't though.
strange.
It scaled that, but I think this is a little bit squished. So I have to go in and look at it and see what the proportion is, and then I have to do that proportion, use that proportion. You know what I mean? So it's 12 to 8 is the proportion. So I have to do the proportion of this the same.
Yeah.
So so say 12. Yeah. 8, 12. Okay, so that's the right proportion, but it's not the right size. But see, it's kind of starting to pixelate, even just here. So just for the fun of it, I'll go, okay, I'll put it outside Put it outside. Let's put it outside this window, this door. So I'll open the door. Yeah, that doesn't look bad. I mean, other than the flooring going out there. Send it to high res. See what happens. So I think as long as you're doing the proportions right, but I think you're right. The normal does look like it's going to render okay, but I want to double check that.
You don't have to mess with scaling.
Well, you do. It's just you don't have to scale. You don't have to scale the
but
texture, but you have to scale your scenery. You have to scale your scenery to the proportions of the texture. That's important. Otherwise, everything's going to look squishy. Either it's going to look squishy this way if you make it too wide, too short, and too wide, or it's going to look squishy this way if you make it too narrow and too tall. So you have to make sure that you're doing it proportionally. Otherwise, it will. This looks like it's going to take forever. That's okay. Good time. Well, it's having a little. So while that's rendering, any questions? Any thoughts? I stumbled upon this grass thing quite by accident. I think I was on the SketchUp Texture Club website, and one of the things that it was showing was grass. I'm like, I never thought of that. Never thought of using grass. So I just tried it to see, and I thought it worked to pretty nice effect when you're when you have the. Why did I do that? That was a little too far, a little farther to the left than I intended. Other than I like the bookshelves with the gray stain on the inside, but so this isn't doing too badly. All right, 26.
Is that a dog?
My dog's coughing. Yeah.
That sounded so sad.
I know. Guys, is he okay? Yeah. Okay.
Mary, do you love the flowers?
I do. Those were so nice. I have a file that says Jackie's SketchUp now.
I use it also now. I'm searching for some more. So
yeah, you do have to save it till your final renders though, because they are very high in polygon count.
It's 42 megabytes big, that one. But you see, it does it.
That
but surely.
Beautiful picture.
Yeah, that's from Unsplash also.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, I actually lightened it. It was actually much darker. Some of the ones that you bring in, you do have to do a little bit of fiddling sometimes. And I use something called paint.net. It pretty much has all of the same features as Photoshop, but it's free because it's an open source program. And there are all kinds of different plugins that people have for it, and everything from animated GIFs to all kinds of different filters, and it's really pretty neat. But Jackie, that's a good example of being able to use go ahead and use the normal, because sometimes I use the normal for a flooring and it looks horrible. It looks all pixelated. So
yeah,
I guess it depends on
the scenery.
I guess it depends on the picture.
I always scale my flooring, but the scenery I don't.
Mhm. Interesting.
And sometimes when you scale it, it tiles. It's very strange. When you don't have the scaling right, it does funny things.
In when you're using it on scenery?
Yeah.
Interesting.